This was published in the journal Nature, but it was done by Oxford University and University of Pittsburgh professors and scientists. And they poured over 20 million scientific studies and 4 million patent applications from around the world over the past 50 years. And here's what they were digging in. They were digging into, was there a pattern of breakthroughs associated with in-person collaboration? Because a lot of these studies have multiple people collaborating on the study and on the research, but they work very far away at times. And so that's what they were looking for. They were looking for collaboration patterns based on in-person collaboration versus remote collaboration, because you can do both. So that's what's really interesting. Now, before I get into the study, understand that a lot of CEOs, and this has been widely reported, have a similar position as I do, that, you know what, when people are together, there's just better energy, better culture, and that's what we're longing for. And that's been the big thing. And it's been about, well, you know, we can get more done if we're together. And it's a little bit of the quantity play. But this study comes in looking at the quality play. Is the work better when there is in-person collaboration versus remote collaboration? That's what they were seeking to find. And here's what they found. Collaborating in person did produce more breakthroughs. Now, they're studying all the scientific research-based work. So if you want a caveat or an asterisk, that's the one. Because they're not studying every type of work across multiple industries. What they're studying is when people are scientifically experimenting and researching and they are collaborating, was there a change? And the change was very positive. And not the change, the difference was that there were more breakthroughs when people were collaborating in person versus remotely. Interestingly enough, the farther away team members were from one another. So sometimes they weren't even in the same time zone. The worst chance they had of producing work that was groundbreaking. Teams located in the same city, for example, were 22% more likely to produce innovative patents than teams spread out by several hundred miles or more, and 27% more likely to produce pioneering insights. So innovative patents, pioneering insights. It's not even close. Not even close. So we okay, what do we take away from this? I'll tell you what I think it is in just a minute. One of the economists who co-authored the paper on the study, Carl Benedict Frey, said, if you think of it purely from the perspective of trying to develop breakthrough technologies, you should probably be on site as much as possible. In other words, the more creative or the more innovative that you need to be, you should be in the same room. That's the big bumper sticker takeaway. And that does not in any way make a case against remote work. You could be a company that is 100% everybody's remote work. But if we've got to get to the bottom of something, we've got to be super creative, we got to be innovative, we got to solve a very important problem, we're not going to be remote for a couple of days. We're going to be all in the same room and we're going to lock it down and we're going to get after it. And we're going to harness that energy. That's the big takeaway. Now, if you ask executives out there who are demanding that their employees return to the office full time, they'll probably say, well, there's just a quality of conversations at the water cooler. And I think that somehow makes us all better. Well, they're right. That's what this study found. Among teams that worked in person, many of the collaborators participated in the initial stages of conceiving the research. On remote teams, by contrast, the more established collaborators, meaning experienced, tended to come up with an original idea on their own. Then they delegated the technical task of the study to their less established peers. So, having better, more collaborative interactions early in the big picture thinking stage it did lead teams to pursue more novel ideas. Last point that this article makes, and then I'm going to wrap this up and tell you what I think the takeaway is and why we should believe this study. Even for companies that want to let their entire staff work from home, the findings offer some hints on how to avoid losing out on innovation. Instead of letting the most senior bosses come up with the ideas for everyone else to execute, look for ways to get everybody involved in the brainstorming in the same room. Now, if you can't do that, still you need to create a remote version of the water cooler. People can be a little bit shyer on Zoom, but if you can make it fun, the idea is to get everybody literally on the same page. Even if it's Zoom and there's like 47 of you. I actually did a keynote about 2 months ago. It was a remote keynote, keynote rather. And I could see there were 300 people on this Zoom. And the organizer said, "Is this going to distract you?" I said, "No, I think it's kind of fun." So there's all these little itty bitty windows. I don't know if it was Zoom or not, but it was pretty crazy. So what do we take away from this? There is nothing as powerful as putting people in a room where they can watch, feed off of each other's energy, bounce off of each other's ideas, and then receive affirmation when they make a contribution. I think those are the three factors that make in-person innovation second to none. In-person collaboration is more powerful for those reasons. I'm less likely to be distracted. I'm less likely to be discouraged. Everybody's in there. Everybody's contributing. I'm getting feedback. I'm getting challenged. I'm getting ideas that maybe I wouldn't have gotten. But when I hear it, I'm able to go, "Oh, that's a good idea. Well, yes, and what about this?" And those three factors come together for what is, I believe, a palpable, you can feel it in the room, momentum, because everybody's working towards the same thing. We're all feeding off of each other's ideas, energy, and the reward system. I throw out an idea or I throw out something and my colleagues go, "Oh, that's good." Boom, dopamine rush. I'm even more engaged. That cannot happen when you're isolated. So I think it's really interesting stuff. Leaders, those of you who trying to lead innovative and creative teams with remote staffs, get them together some, if nothing else, just for the collaboration and innovation.